First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be possible. Low Nose Boxing. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Shout out to Mill City Boxing. Shout out to the Boxing Voice, Nestor Gibbs. Both of those guys conducted two very good interviews with Subriel Matias. I mean, there's so many sound bites, so many things that Subriel Matias said that I could make a video about. Example, he was talking about Regis Prograis. He was talking English, and he was making threats, talking about, I'm gonna put Regis Prograis in the hospital. He was talking about Devin Haney. He was going off on Devin Haney's lack of star power, how he can't sell tickets, how he can't sell pay-per-views. He was going off on my boy Teofimo Lopez, calling him un cobarde, a coward. He was going off on Richardson Hitchens. He was going off on everybody. He was putting 140 on notice. But one thing that really caught my attention was when he started talking about Pitbull Cruz. He said that Pitbull Cruz is basically his biggest fight. And to an extent, I have to agree about that. I definitely have to agree on that. You know, I made videos before in the past, and I mentioned how Subriel Matias has the potential to be the face of boxing, or one of the faces of boxing. Subriel Matias has more star power than Devin Haney. I'm going to go on the limb and say that Subriel Matias has the potential to be a bigger pay-per-view attraction than Gervonta Tank Davis. I'm saying that, and I'm not trolling. I say that because the fan base is already there. Subriel Matias is being backed by the Puerto Rican fan base, my people. He's being backed by the Mexican fan base as well. He's also being backed by the Black African American fan base as well. Subriel Matias has a cult-like following, sort of like Edwin Valero, but he's gonna go further than Edwin Valero. Rest in peace, Edwin Valero. Subriel Matias has the style, a fan-friendly style. He has a 100% knockout ratio. He comes forward, he gets hit, he's vulnerable, he attacks, he's a gladiator, and now he's talking he's talking English, sort of like Canelo Alvarez. He's talking heavy in English, and he's very sharp, very witty. I mean, I gotta make more videos regarding those interviews because there's so many things to touch on. But what I do want to touch on is Subriel Matias versus Pitbull Cruz. I'm also going to go on the limb to say that Subriel Matias versus Isaac Pitbull Cruz will probably sell more pay-per-view buys than Devin Haney versus my guy Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, I said that. I'm going to go on the limb to say that Subriel Matias versus Pitbull Cruz could possibly sell more than Gervonta Davis and Shakur Stevenson. I'm not going to say Gervonta and Devin Haney, but Gervonta and Shakur Stevenson. I think Subriel Matias and Isaac Pitbull Cruz will sell out. There's a lot of history there. Puerto Rico versus Mexico is an intense rivalry that's been going on for years. Now, if you're a new boxing fan, you wouldn't know about that because all the recent fights for the last few years that we had between Mexico and Puerto Rico has been landslides in the favor of Mexican fighters. Puerto Rico hasn't had an elite level fighter from Puerto Rico since Miguel Cotto, since Ivan Calderon. That's the last time Puerto Rico had elite level fighters, right? We had Puerto Rico versus Mexico matchups, and you know me, I'm about to go in my bag right now because I'm a historian. This is what I do. Low Nose Boxing is also a walking boxing encyclopedia, real rap. So what I'm going to break down for you right now is the history of Puerto Rico versus Mexico. I'm not talking about these one-sided fights that newer boxing fans are accustomed to. I'm not talking about Navarrete versus Christopher Diaz Bedufo. I'm not going to talk about Felix Verdejo getting beat up by some Mexican guy that eventually lost to Jose Pedraza. I'm not talking about Jose Pedraza versus Jose Ramirez. I'm not talking about Alberto Machado that got beat up by the Mexican construction worker that I don't even know his name. Those weren't Puerto Rican greats. Me and Lester Gibbs had a debate. He said that Jose Pedraza is a great Puerto Rican fighter. Absolutely not. And I'm not trying to put down Jose Pedraza. Jose Pedraza is a two-time world champion. He won his first world title. 2 fights later, he got knocked out by Gervonta Davis. He won a belt at 135. Right away, he lost to Vasyl Lomachenko. He didn't have a run. So he's not a Puerto Rican great. Subriel Matias right now hasn't had a run himself. But if he has a run, he has the potential to become a Puerto Rican great. And this is the fight that can make him a pay-per-view attraction. This is a fight that can be fight of the year. Pitbull Cruz versus Subriel Matias. Pitbull Cruz comes forward with that Mike Tyson style. Subriel Matias is a slow starter. He comes in with the high guard to see what you got. On the inside, Subriel Matias will have the advantage because he throws shorter, straighter punches on the inside. Subriel Matias, as many deficiencies he has with his defense, he does have a pretty good inside game. He got inside work. And he got subtle defense. He catches punches here and there on the inside. He got fast hands. That's, I would say, a 55-45 fight in favor of Subriel Matias. That's neither here or there who I feel will win that fight. But I'm going to give you a breakdown of the history of Puerto Rico versus Mexico because it wasn't always one-sided. I remember Hector Macho Camacho bursted upon the scene, fought in Puerto Rico against a Mexican champion by the name of Rafael Bazooka Limon. Camacho blitzed him. He blitzed him. I mean, he beat the brakes off him. Camacho also went on to fight Jose Luis Ramirez at 135 to become a lightweight champion. He dominated Jose Luis Ramirez worse than Julio Cesar Chavez did, worse than Pernell Whitaker did. I mean, Hector Camacho got wins in the Puerto Rico versus Mexico rivalry, but then he also took a loss to Julio Cesar Chavez, another rivalry fight, right? Then we're going to talk about Edwin Rosario, right, from Puerto Rico. He took on Jose Luis Ramirez twice. First time he won a controversial decision. Second time he got stopped. Then he fought Julio Cesar Chavez and got stopped. Rosario got a win over a Mexican and lost twice to a Mexican. Then we got Felix Tito Trinidad. He took on Yuri Boy Campos, who was 56-0 with 50 KOs, and Trinidad blitzed him. Trinidad took on Oscar De La Hoya and won a controversial decision. Trinidad took on Fernando Vargas and knocked his head off. Great fight, by the way. Great fight. But Trinidad really damaged Fernando Vargas in that fight. He wasn't the same fighter after that, even though he did become a world champion. But Trinidad fought him at his best, right? We got more Puerto Rico versus Mexico matchups. We got Juan Manuel Lopez, right? Juanma, who got beat twice in Puerto Rico by Orlando Salido. But going into that fight, Juanma had knocked out Daniel Ponce de Leon, right? Puerto Ricans were holding their own. It wasn't always one-sided. I mean, I could go on and on. Wilfredo Gomez beat Guadalupe Pintor, a great Mexican fighter. He beat Carlos Zarate, who was 56-0 with like 54 knockouts, something like that. Great fight, knocked him out. And then he eventually got knocked out by Salvador Sanchez. I mean, I could go all night talking about these fights because I know my stuff. I'm a boxing historian. I'm a walking encyclopedia para que tú lo sepas. Subriel Matias versus Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. Oye, papi, no jode con ese tipo. Ese tipo se pega durísimo, para que tú lo sepas. Subriel Matias. Coño, papi, ese tipo se tiene bomba en la mano. En ese mexicano también está bravo. Tú sabes, güey. You know what I mean? Anyway, I just wanted to give y'all a slight history lesson on the past great fights between Puerto Rico and Mexico, and I'm really advocating for the Subriel Matias versus Isaac Pitbull Cruz fight. I've been talking about this for a minute now, how Subriel Matias needs the right opponent, the right dance partner to elevate himself into a pay-per-view star. If Subriel Matias can beat Isak Pitbull Cruz and stop him, I guarantee you he would be probably the second biggest name in boxing, or the third, behind Canelo Alvarez and Gervonta Tank Davis. And if Subriel keeps it up, he'll probably surpass Gervonta Davis as well, because Gervonta Davis hasn't really been fighting the top guys in quite some time. And if Subriel Matias knocks out Pitbull Cruz, which is something that Gervonta Davis couldn't do, then he's definitely one of the top 3 or 2 faces of boxing. Not pound for pound faces of boxing. Now, do I think Subriel Matias could beat the other guys at 140, like Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, or even the Gervonta Davis? That's a whole nother story. That's a whole nother video. But nevertheless, you know how I carry it. I had to bring you up to speed, share some knowledge and history, and advocate for this future mega fight. With that being said, hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Low Nose Boxing, because Low Nose Boxing, pa que tú lo sepa. I'm out. Like that shoulder roll, right?